Well, I'm here at No Brand Con to talk about Midwest Gaming Classic. Of course. As one does. I've been going to Midwest Gaming Classic for at least 3 years running now, and whenever I go, there's always a pretty good haul of stuff that I get, and this year I got it all for less than $100, which probably only sounds like bragging to other parents of small children. My only Famicom cartridges are Bomberman and Lode Runner. If you listen to the Famicom Dojo podcast, talked about how Bomberman was kind of a villain in Lode Runner or something like that. They're both Hudson Soft games, so I never owned the originals of both of these before. And in fact, I picked up an NES copy of Lode Runner not too long ago. See, here we go. Although I didn't really get this in Midwest Gaming Classic, I just brought it along to compare. And those together, 10 bucks. Because I hate myself, I got my own copy of Back to the Future finally. I've had 2 and 3 for a while, but I've never owned or even really rented a copy of the first game. I always played it at a friend's house. So despite that I know how bad it is, I just feel like, well, really I'm trying to make up for not having watched any of the movies during the 30th anniversary. No idea what I spent on it, probably less than $10. All right, this is pretty random because I don't use the actual system as 4 anymore, but I got this Game Boy AC adapter. And you know, like a lot of things, I just want the official things, but there's actually a lot that's cool about this. So it looks like a normal power brick, and you know, it is, and it's very Game Boy themed. Plugs in right there, no big deal. And I notice it didn't come with the actual wall outlet, but if you see right there, a lot of the time, adapters that use 2-prong cord will have some kind of weird, funky business to keep you from using other kinds, but this is totally smooth all the way around, so I just happen to have a bunch of those cables laying around because whatever device that I use them for is long since fried out. But hope against hope the cables are still good, and sure enough, this has some of those divots I was talking about. Works just great. So plug this into your original Game Boy Fat, you know, the gray brick. But this acts as a battery pack, and I did not know that. What helped me to know that was that it came with a booklet. And the booklet tells you, rechargeable battery pack body. So it can be used for both. How much did all this set me back? $3. The guy at the table was convinced it was going to cost $6, but then he saw the actual price and acquiesced. And I don't know how it came up, but I mentioned Shaq Fu. And so he pulled out the Super Nintendo version, because I think I had the Genesis one already. He was convinced this was $3. Well, $6. And somehow I talked myself out of a discount. Those things together total, $9. So up to 25-ish? That sounds about right. So in the hunt for Zapper-compatible games, I picked up a copy of To the Earth, which I'm pretty sure I don't own. And this came with a manual, which I don't care about manuals too much, but for the purposes of Famicom Dojo, I like to have them just in case I could use something interesting from them. So yep, right there, Zapper. It even has a model number in here. Either way, the manual set me back an extra $5, so that was 10, I believe, altogether. Some places would charge me 15 for games and manuals, but I don't care about them that much. Enough, though, to grab a couple more that were just in a box somewhere, $2 a piece. Got one for dance aerobics because, man. So the interesting thing about this is that I remember these, you know, photos on the actual cartridge and everything like that, and everything very interesting, but then you look at the Japanese version, it's pink and it's got a cartoon character on it, and those characters are in the booklet. So I'm sure that this is adapted from the Japanese version. And there's a lot about different modes in here, which, you know, I don't know if I would have known about. I mean, I guess just the internet, but even how to use the side for music games down there. So I think a pretty interesting and potentially useful artifact. And then I got a booklet for Pac-Man by Tengen. Tengen? Tengen. Tengen. This is the officially licensed US copy, the gray cart, before they made a black one. It even has the NES model number on it, and the Nintendo seal of quality. Oh, if only they knew. So speaking of Tengen, I found the third of, I hope, 3 RBI baseball cartridges, slowly building my Tengen collection. So now I have 3 plus the original gray card of the first game, and this was $10. So we're at roughly $50 right now. In addition to collecting Tengen carts, I've been looking for any Color Dream or Wisdom Tree games that I can find. And again, for those who listen to the podcast, we've discussed this before. Color Dreams became Wisdom Tree to make their educational Bible-based games. For that, they made third-party, kind of interesting, not too crappy, off-color games. And this year's haul included Silent Assault. Just look at that. Look at that beautiful box art. And this Varia Blue is in pretty good condition. I asked $18 for it, I talked him down to $16. I asked for $15, but he wanted an even number for some reason, even though that meant he had to give out 4 ones. Yeah. So now we're at $68, roughly 70. They had another one for 40, but I should have really done my research on these games before I went there to know if it was a good price or not. All right, so we're about at $70. I'm not quite done yet because Vinnk decided he wanted to pledge for Super Russian Roulette. Doesn't have an NES, so he instructed me to go find some games that he might like. And finding them for cheap at a show like Midwest Gaming Classic is not exactly ideal, but finding things that are inexpensive and not junk, pretty good chance of that. Unfortunately, he didn't really give me any directions or a list, so I knew based on the podcast that he liked Wall Street Kid, so I picked that up for him. That was $10. So in addition, I found the game that I loved, Marble Madness. It even has a gold star on it from the arcade classic. This art just screams, nostalgia to me. I sent a picture of Wall Street Kid and Marble Madness and asked Vinnk which one he wanted, and he's like, Wall Street Kid? And I'm like, you don't want Marble Madness? And he said, no, it's too hard. So where does that leave us? So we are at 70 about, $10 for Wall Street Kid, $7 for Useless Marble Madness. Got this for free because Jody from 4CR doesn't care for manuals. That led to the whole discussion and why I got the other ones just to, I don't know, out of spite, I guess. Sorry, Jody. I don't own a copy of Excitebike 64 and I didn't find another one while we were there, but now I gotta match up the game to the manual because why have it otherwise? And I haven't actually read it yet. I don't think that's actual game footage, do you? And last but not least, a mystery Game Boy Advance cartridge. Jody and I saw these for just laying out for $1 in these mysterious envelopes. I leaned over and told him, "You're going to be disappointed. Let's do it." So we each grabbed one and fear factor unleashed. So disappointing. That puts us about 90, under 90. Not too bad. Since I went to Midwest Gaming Classic last year in 2015 and didn't do my haul video for that, I figured I'd just pull those in for this year. My Color Dreams and Wisdom Tree haul was a bit better. I got Captain Comic, although I think this came both in blue and black, right in the pile of shame. And then I got 2 Wisdom Tree games, Spiritual Warfare and King of Kings. I don't think I've tried either of these yet, but all told, I bet you I spent $50 on all 3 of those, roughly. And one last time on the Tengen front, I got Roadrunner, apparently. And last but not least, on the isometric side of things, I got a copy of Q*bert, which the NES version I remember playing back in the day. Anyway, that's my haul for 2016 and 2015. Teasing a lot of potential videos that I promise we are not gonna get to this year because we want to focus on 16-bit for 2016. I think the most interesting thing about the experience is realizing how expensive some of the cartridges that I own have become. Mega Man games, of course. But then you find out that like Conker's Bad Fur Day is worth $90 now, and that's pretty much what I paid for it back in 2000. I'll be releasing other videos about Midwest Gaming Classic. I tried to get to the Minus World and Versus Super Mario Brothers. Finally found a cabinet. And of course, Famicom Dojo has a Vine channel. Are they called channels? Where we put up a bunch of Vines throughout the weekend. And who knows, maybe I'll get some stuff from 2015 finally put together. It's a terrible tease.